Whispering Shadows. Deep within the heart of the ancient woods, a sense of unease always seemed to linger. The trees stood tall and gnarled, their branches weaving together like skeletal fingers, creating a canopy that blocked out most of the sunlight. An eerie silence hung in the air, broken only by the occasional rustling of leaves or the distant hoot of an owl. Locals avoided this place, speaking of the unsettling energy that pervaded the forest and the stories of those who had ventured in, never to return. On a moonless night, when the sky was shrouded in a blanket of thick clouds, a group of adventurous friends gathered around a campfire. Sarah, the brave and curious one, suggested they explore the haunted woods. John, who always enjoyed a good thrill, readily agreed. Mark, the skeptic, rolled his eyes but went along to keep an eye on his friends. And then there was Emily, the reluctant one, who felt her heart race at the mere mention of the forest. As they entered the woods, the temperature seemed to drop, and an eerie fog began to seep through the trees. Their flashlights cast long, flickering shadows on the path ahead. The group pressed on, the crunching of leaves underfoot the only sound besides their own breathing. After what felt like hours of walking, they stumbled upon a dilapidated cabin. Its wooden planks were weathered and creaking, and its windows were broken. The sight sent shivers down their spines, but curiosity got the better of them. Sarah, the bravest of the group, pushed open the creaky door. Inside, the cabin was suffused with an otherworldly glow, casting strange patterns on the walls. Dust danced in the air as the group's flashlights revealed a room that appeared frozen in time. Tattered curtains hung from the windows, and old moth-eaten furniture lay scattered around. "This place gives me the creeps," Emily whispered, her voice barely audible over the uneasy hum of the wind outside. Ignoring Emily's unease, John ventured further into the cabin, exploring the dark corners and peering into each room. Mark remained skeptical, dismissing the odd occurrences as mere tricks of the mind. Sarah, however, couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. As the friends continued to explore, they stumbled upon an old journal lying on a dusty table. Its pages were yellowed with age, and the ink had faded in places. With trembling hands, Sarah opened the journal and began to read aloud. "The shadows whisper secrets only the darkness knows," she read, her voice trembling. "They beckon from beyond, promising forbidden knowledge to those who dare to listen." A gust of wind howled outside, and the cabin seemed to groan in response. The friends exchanged nervous glances, but their curiosity kept them rooted to the spot. Sarah turned another page, her eyes widening as she read on. "The woods are cursed, a place where lost souls wander and linger," she continued, her voice quivering. "Those who venture too deep risk becoming part of the forest's eternal lament." A sudden chill swept through the room, causing their breath to mist in the air. The journal slipped from Sarah's fingers, landing with a soft thud on the floor. In the dim light, they heard a whispering, a faint susurrus that seemed to come from every corner of the cabin. Panicked, Emily grabbed Sarah's arm. "We need to leave now!" As they turned to flee, their flashlights flickered and died, plunging them into darkness. Heart pounding, Mark fumbled for his lighter and managed to ignite it, casting a feeble glow around them. But what they saw in that dim light froze them in place. The walls of the cabin were covered in moving shadows, undulating and swirling like living entities. The whispering grew louder, a cacophony of voices that echoed with sorrow and despair. The air felt thick, suffocating, as if the very darkness was pressing down on them. "We shouldn't have come here!" Emily's voice wavered as tears welled up in her eyes. Suddenly, a figure materialized from the shadows, its form shifting and flickering like a mirage. The figure's eyes glowed a haunting blue, fixing on the friends with an intensity that chilled their bones. "Who dares intrude upon my domain?" The figure's voice echoed through their minds, sending waves of terror rippling through them. "We didn't mean any harm," John stammered, his voice shaking. "We didn't know—" The figure's gaze seemed to pierce their very souls, as if it could read their thoughts and intentions. The whispering grew even louder, a chorus of anguish that seemed to come from the shadows themselves. "You have trespassed into a realm where mortals are not welcome," the figure intoned, its voice a mournful melody. "Only one of you shall leave, for the woods hunger for another lost soul." Panic surged through the group as they realized the gravity of their situation. In the dim light, they exchanged terrified glances, each one hoping that they wouldn't be the one chosen. The whispering shadows closed in around them, and the figure's glowing eyes seemed to bore into their very essence. With a sudden, bone-chilling scream, one of them vanished into the shadows, leaving behind only an echo of terror. The others turned and ran, fueled by sheer adrenaline and the desperate need to escape the nightmare that had unfolded. They burst out of the cabin and into the woods, their gasping breaths mingling with the sounds of their pounding footsteps. The fog was even thicker now, obscuring their path and disorienting their senses. As they stumbled forward, they realized they were hopelessly lost, trapped in a labyrinth of whispering shadows. And so the haunted forest claimed another chapter in its dark history, its hunger for lost souls insatiable. The whispers of the shadows continue to linger, a chilling reminder of the fate that awaits those who dare to venture too deep into the heart of the woods.